Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So let's take the structure I introduced in Leon's character analysis video and apply it to Noelle. Noelle is an odd duck in the Nier Reincarnation universe, and I've struggled with deciding on how to talk about her. For now we can use this format, but it's not going to cover everything about her that I want to talk about, so I hope to do more videos of her in the future. I feel like I can do an entire video about just her various weapon stories. But like before, let's ask the 5 questions. What kind of character is she? What kind of hero is she? What is her sin? Is she sympathetic? And what are the writers saying through her? But first, a quick synopsis. Noelle is a living weapon, one sister of many, but seemingly defective in that she wakes from cryogenic sleep when she was not supposed to, and thinks and questions, although she is not supposed to. Noelle has residual memories from the original she is based on, and is possessed by the desire of the original to return to a beloved place, and she goes on a journey to that place. She dies there, turning into a giant crystal. Funnily enough, my synopsis of her story is longer than my synopsis of Leon's story, which perhaps goes to show that although maybe Noelle's not as deep of a character as Leon, her story actually has maybe more important aspects to it. So first question, what kind of character is Noelle? Again, according to E.M. Forster, she is flat and static, maybe the most so of all of the playable reincarnation characters. Her one driving motivation is simple and obvious, and her personality is one note. She is curious, naive, and searching. I have seen some criticism of her character and her story, saying it is missing elements we find in the other characters. Essentially, they want Noelle to be a round, dynamic character, like so many others. But Noelle is simply not that type of character, and the writers purposefully wrote her this way to make us, the viewer, think on certain subjects that other types of characters would not be able to bring up. Flat, static characters are not inferior to round, dynamic. They serve a different purpose, that's all. Next, what kind of hero is Noelle? Like Leon, she is also a liminal hero, but of a very different sort. Whereas Leon is trying to solidify and assert his views and direction, Noelle is nowhere near that point. She doesn't even have an identity around which to build, or a bank of experiences from which to draw. She reads books to create that bank of experiences, and adopts her original's dream because she has none of her own. In essence, Noelle is nobody. She is a newborn, or maybe even less than a newborn. And through her being totally new to the world with no personal identity, her story addresses topics that are more kind of primal and of the subconscious, while Leon's issues are more adolescent or political or of the conscious. Related to that, we can take a look at Freud's idea of the id, ego, and superego, and Noelle has next to none of that. She truly is starting from scratch. She says repeatedly that she does not know what she enjoys, and if she's like the other androids, she doesn't have any desires, like for food or sex, and so she has no id. And, since she does not know what the now defunct society expects of her, she has no superego, and so, with nothing to balance against each other, she has no need for a filtering or balancing ego. And so, in adopting her sister's dream, she picks up one desire, and that sort of defines her world and herself in one. Next, let's ask what is her sin, and this is a tough one because it's not very apparent at all. Maybe the most obvious answer is because she fights and kills, but what rule or what doctrine is she sinning against by killing non-human mutants on the behalf of mankind? None really, and maybe more importantly, Noelle does not feel guilty about it besides. All of the other Nier Reincarnation characters do suffer from guilt, which is very linked to their sin. And that is the source of my feeling of her odd duckness. She does not feel guilt for anything, and why should she with the lack of a superego? Even Argo, who Yoko Taro and the writers deemed as sinless, feels a little guilt for leaving his family behind. My guess is that her sin is similar to the replicants, or to the androids of Yorha, and that is just by existing. She imitates and makes a mockery of the creation of God, or the gods. She embodies sin because she is humankind's effort to copy or even supplant God's works, and so become as gods themselves. Question 4, is Noelle a sympathetic character? This is also tough. because she's almost more of a symbol than a person. I doubt any of us know anyone who lives so outside of society that they don't even know the rules of society, like someone raised by wolves or something. Instead, I think it's better to think of it as how much do we value what she represents? How much do we value things like curiosity, wonder, questioning, and dreaming, whether asleep or awake? I personally try to think philosophically, and concepts like wonder and questioning are the most important things to a philosophical worldview, so yes, I value those things very much, and the newborn-like sense of newness to the world is valuable and worth holding on to, or, trying not to forget. And so in that sense, I personally sympathize with Noelle, or what she represents. And the final question, what are the writers saying through Noelle? The top-line takeaway is that dreams are important, but it can be difficult to find one, and choices can define us. Under the surface, however, I feel her story makes us confront questions like, what is identity? How do memories define us? What value or influence do false or inherited memories have? What value is there in taking up someone else's dream as one's own? Is it morally okay to go against someone else's dream when you disagree with it? And how can we know what is right or moral if there's no society or a doctrine to judge? I feel the point of the writers writing Noelle this way is not to provide answers to these questions, but to make us, the viewer, ask them for ourselves, which is of great value in and of itself. And so Noelle kind of ends up being one of the more philosophical characters. I said this about A2 from Automata, but these two characters are not yet philosophers, but they have the spirit of one. And by asking these questions, by questioning the world, and by showing wonder for the beauty of the world, they are showing that they are on their way to becoming one, and therefore more human. Okay, so that was an initial character analysis of Noelle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.